Okay, today we're going to focus on keyword research, and we're going to be referring back to your research document that you should have completed yesterday. Should look a little something like this when you're done. And what I've done here is anywhere where I saw one of my keywords, I went ahead and I bolded it just so it would stand out here, so we could kind of take a look at this and see what's up with this at a glance. So just as a quick review here on the research document, I've got my first organic listing here actually has hemorrhoid treatment in the domain name. So I see that that's important. In the title, got hemorrhoid treatment, hemorrhoids treatment, in the keywords and in the description. So this one's done fairly well, and we'll come back and analyze this even further when we get to that section. But for keyword research, we're just going to kind of look at this at a glance real quick. Second one down here, nothing in the domain name. They've got hemorrhoid treatment, best hemorrhoids treatment, and also they've got a keyword here, Venipro. And in a little bit of more research, you'll find out that that's actually a common drug that's used with this. So anyway, going down the list, I came to this one here, completely unrelated. I have no idea, what they're doing competing in this market, but they don't have any information on the site, about hemorrhoids. So they're one that is, using some techniques to get up here, but when the algorithms change, these guys will probably be gone pretty quick. And same with this one here. Didn't even have a keyword tag. Nothing at all about hemorrhoid in their information at all. So anyway, that's kind of at a glance. You'll also notice at the bottom of the research document I put a My Keywords listing here. And this is where we're actually going to list your keywords as we discover them here. So first thing we want to do is go back to the Google SK tool. And what we want to do here is, rather than put the website in, we're actually going to put the name in here, or rather our main keyword. And we're going to be generic, and I'm going to show you where generic is not going to work in your favor a little bit later. But for now, when we're doing our keyword process, you want to keep to generics here because we don't want to limit what we get back in the results. So go ahead and click Find Keywords. Now what I'm looking for here is search terms or keywords rather that have over 500 and are relevant to what we're doing. So here, as I roll over this, I see hemorrhoid treatment is at the top. So that one's got 6,600 searches a month. So that's a good keyword for us. Right below I see hemorrhoid surgery. That's really not related to natural hemorrhoid treatments and things that we're focused on, so I'm going to skip that. Hemorrhoid relief, that's pretty much right on the money, 1,800 searches, so that's good. Hemorrhoid cream, if we were doing that, that would be good. We're not in this case. Hemorrhoids cure, that would be a good one with 1,000 searches a month. Treating hemorrhoids. So you can see where I'm going with this. So we want to take these keywords and we want to paste them into our list. Later on, if you want to really get aggressive with this, you can go up here and you can export these. And when you click the export, it'll say export all 271. But we're really not interested in all of those because you can see the ones that are above 500, there's only a handful of them here. Like there's natural treatment for hemorrhoids. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a handful of these out, and I'm also going to put how many searches next to them, and I'm going to put them into our document. Now a quick easy way to do this is just to click up here and then drag over the ones that you want, and I'm going to just go down here and I'm just going to take the ones that are over 500 and I'm going to right click, copy, and then I'm going to go over to my Word document and I'm going to paste the cells in here, and it's actually going to put it in there as a table, so all the work will be done for you. Now you see it put this nice little table in here, and then the ones that I'm not interested in, I can just highlight that row, hit delete, get rid of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you see that this leaves you with spaces. For those of you that like things tidy, you can just highlight that row, right click on it, and do delete rows, and you can kind of clean this thing up a little bit if that makes sense to you. Okay, so I have got a nice clean tidy little table here with my information in it. It's got the keywords and the number of searches per month. The rest of the stuff I'm really not interested in. I'm just basically looking for keywords that have a good amount of volume before I move on to my next step. Okay, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Google, and I'm going to use the Google keyword search, and I'm going to start putting in HEMO. And I'll see in the list here we've got hemorrhoids generically, and here's a conversation that we really need to have. When you're doing keyword research, you don't want the generic keywords. Sure, the generic keywords can bring you a lot of traffic, but it's not the right traffic. If you got this keyword to the top, it would bring you people that were searching for all kinds of different things regarding hemorrhoids when you're selling only a specific item. So it doesn't really do you any good. And typically in the generic keywords there's a lot of competition, so you don't really want to play in that game. You want to get really specific to what you're offering so you get the right qualified traffic to your site. You don't need a tremendous amount of traffic. What you need is the right traffic. So since we're focused on treatments, I see that treatment is right here, shows up, and you'll notice that was one of our top keywords on our last search. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and we'll see that under hemorrhoid treatment there's 673,000 competing pages. Now this doesn't really mean a lot, so I don't want you to focus too much on that. There's other things that we're going to look at here. So we know this term gets a lot of traffic, and what we're looking at now is to see, we see a lot of advertisers too. So you know this is probably a pretty good money keyword. But what I want to see is who's here. How competitive are these sites really? So what I'm looking at is to see who's here. Like WebMD, this is a pretty powerful site. So that's that's one that's going to be pretty competitive. Wikipedia, usually Wikipedia's got a lot of authority. But what I'm looking for is to see if these are all .coms or if they're subpage sites. And like here I see this site here really didn't have a lot to do with it, and it's a subpage. So that one's in the top 10. I see several other subpages in the top 10. So this tells me that we might have an easy shot at getting on this first page. Also, I see that we have videos here, and again we're going to talk about this a little later, but this tells us there's an actual entry point onto this first page by placing a video up. Another thing to notice here also is down here there's related searches to hemorrhoid treatment, and you want to pay particular attention to this because this is Google giving you insight into what people are actually looking for. Like we see here, natural hemorrhoid treatment. That looks like a good term for us. We also see other terms, here that are not necessarily so good for us. Here's a home remedy treatment. So, we might want to take that into consideration. So when you see these keywords that look good down here, you want to go ahead and you copy those and paste them into your research document. So I noticed 3 here that I seem to like, so I went ahead and copied those, pasted them in, added them to our research document before we move on. So next thing I want to do is I want to go up to the top, and I want to show you something that not too many people know about. Under the options here, it says show options. You can click on that, and then that's going to give you another sidebar down the side. And there's a couple of things down here under standard view. There's related searches, and this will give you another list, a more in-depth list of stuff here. So take a look at that and see if any of those are keywords that meet your criteria. Okay, so I found a couple here that we didn't have before, and I went ahead and popped those into our keyword document. And going back here, there's another link here called the Wonder Wheel, and this is a really cool little feature that Google came up with. And what it is, it shows your main term in the middle of the Wonder Wheel here, and then it shows these others on the outside. So what happens when you click on one of those, it gives you the options of those in a nice little graph here. It's a really cool little tool. So if we went down the pipe of natural hemorrhoid treatment, what it does, it opens up another Wonder Wheel and it gives us the keywords related to that. So if you want to see the keywords related to cure hemorrhoids treatment, you just simply click on it, and then up come the cure keywords, like cure hemorrhoids naturally. I don't believe we have that one on our list, and that might be a really good keyword for us. So I would go ahead and copy that and put it over into our Word document. And basically that's what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to explore the possibilities and have Google tell us from their point of view and from a search standpoint who's looking for these keywords and what keywords are they looking to in relation to the ones that we thought of. So you don't want to go by what you think, you want to go by what you know, and this is how you find out. This is how you find out what your market is actually searching for. So spend some time with this and kind of just, dig through here and find out really what are your customers looking for, because this is Google giving you insight into that. And once you've got that list, we'll go ahead and move on. I'm just going to kind of poke through here, grab some, and update our list, and then I'll be back to you. Now you'll notice as we get into this and you keep digging in further and further, you'll notice your popcorn trail goes all the way back. If you want to get back and explore one of those deeper, you simply just click back on that one and it will bring you back to that point. And then you can start searching again from that point. So it's a really cool tool, and it'll give you a lot of options on what people are searching for. So go ahead, spend some time doing this, and then once you're done playing around with that and you've got all your keywords pasted back into your research document, we'll pick it back up there. Okay. Our next step is to copy these keywords one at a time, and we can go back to the SK tool and put each one of these in here and see how many searches, or if it's even showing searches. And I'll talk a little bit about that when we hit one here. But anyway, okay, natural treatment for hemorrhoids, 540. So I'm going to just go back here and I'm just going to put that at the side, just so we know how many searches that one got. Okay, and I'm just going to go through and do this for the rest of these. Okay, I've run my searches in the SK tool and I've pasted the results in here. So each one of my keywords now has the number of monthly searches. Now I want to point something out here. Some of these show 0, and I'm going to show you why. If we take this and we go over and we run it in the SK tool, when you run this, it basically comes up with no information. Now, I don't believe for a minute that there's no searches run for cure hemorrhoids naturally. That just does not make any sense to me. What does make sense to me is there's no one willing to pay for it from their advertiser point of view. So this tool is a little bit skewed in that when Google puts out tools for you to do keyword research, their basic intent in mind is to sell you ad space through their pay-per-click network. And you'll even see in this tool there's monthly searches, competition, and suggested bid. Now that's, if you were doing a pay-per-click, that would be very meaningful information to you. But we're doing strictly organic SEO here, so we're not really interested in that information. But the thing to take away here is to know that Google is not giving you true accurate information here. Now on the other side, in their Wonder Wheel, this was coming up. So that tells me for sure that there's actually people searching for it. It's just not showing us that information here. So when you analyze your document over here, you want to kind of keep that in mind, that some of these numbers might be a little bit skewed. This might not be 100% accurate, but it does give us a pretty good picture. Okay, for our next step, I'm just going to highlight this stuff and make it just a little bit larger so it's easier to see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy each one of these, and I'm going to take it over to Google and actually see the results here in the search. So again, this one here, hemorrhoid treatment, we've already kind of looked at this one. We know this is a good one. It might be a little bit competitive because there's some heavy hitters here, but I think that's probably a good one to stick with. Let's try the next one down. We've not looked at this yet. So we'll plug that in. Now here we see there's no major advertisers at the top, and one thing I'm noticing here is I'm seeing a lot of pages that are sub-pages here. So that's a good sign. When you see sub-pages in here, that means the competition really isn't that heavy. And again, we're seeing YouTube videos. So again, that's showing us there's some pretty good opportunity to get onto this page. So I like that keyword, and I'm just going to kind of keep searching down the list here, and just making sure that these don't have too much competition for us, and that they're in the right place. Make sure that what we're seeing is true to what we're selling. Now here's one actually has videos right up at the top, so that's another good sign. And moving right along. Now here's a really good example of what we call low-hanging fruit. This is a real specific keyword term, also known as a long tail search term. So if you ever hear long tail, that'll just mean multiple words in your search string. What you see here is you see hardly any advertisers, low competition amount here, and almost all of these are sub-pages. So this is a term that's going to actually be really easy to rank for, and that's why we call it low-hanging fruit. It's it's the ones you can basically pick up off the ground. And one thing that's common with these low-hanging keywords, low-hanging fruit keywords rather, they don't get a lot of searches, but the searches that they do get are very, very specific, and it's like the last search that somebody makes. When you get a customer and they start searching on the internet, you want to be the last search, not the first search. Because when they search generically with a one keyword or a one word phrase, they're usually doing research at that point. That's not when they're ready to buy. That's not when you want them on your site. When you want them on your site is when they've done their research, they know what they want, they're getting down to the nitty gritty, and they're putting a real specific term in there. And that's known as a long tail keyword. That's where you want your site to be at the top, and that's when they're ready, they got their credit card in their hand, this is the last search they're going to do before they make a purchase. That's where you want to show up. So again, back to the whole keyword theory, you don't need a ton of traffic, you need the right traffic. So that's what we're getting to the bottom of here, is the more specific terms. You'll notice we have a lot of long tail keywords here, and again, just because this one says 0, I don't believe for a minute that there's 0 people searching for these ones with 0. I think there's just probably 0 in the advertiser section, and Google doesn't really want you to know that this is a low-hanging fruit that you can go in and get pay per click very cheap on these keywords. So they're not sharing true information with you, trying to kind of hide that fact, because they want you to spend as much money as possible. That's their job, that's their mission. And we're trying to get traffic over on the organic side, so it's a little bit differently. You have to kind of bring that into play when you're doing this keyword research. So ultimately you kind of see where I'm going with this. You can do this a lot, you can do this a little, you can spend more or less than 30 minutes on this particular piece, but what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to hone this down, and I want just like a handful of keywords here. I want the 5 or 10 best keywords. One strategy is to go strictly for the low-hanging fruit, get it quick, and then move on. Other strategies are go for the big dogs, and the low-hanging fruit just comes automatically a lot of times when you do that. And we'll get further into that conversation as we go through the course. But regardless of your strategy, you don't want to get too many keywords at one time. You want to learn to play the game, and then you want to learn to expand it. So don't overwhelm yourself here. Go for 5, 10 at the most. But if you want to go the easy path, go for the low-hanging fruit stuff. Kind of avoid these big ones. But what we want to do is we want to show you how to get to the top quickly. So for that, I would tend to go with these more low-hanging fruit keywords off the bat, just so you get the hang of this. You can see some results, get some traffic, make some sales, get really pumped up about this, and then come back and hit these heavy hitters and really go for it. Now for me, I went ahead and picked these 5. They're not the low-hanging fruit here, but I'm going to be doing this right alongside you guys, so I'm going to just see where I can get with these. I went with 5 of the heavier ones, so we'll just see. It'll be a good test. I'm going to be doing the same stuff you guys are doing. So those are the 5 that I'm going to shoot for there. So you guys do the same thing. Just follow what I've done here for your market. Fill out the research document and highlight the ones that you're going to go for in red, and then we'll move on in the next lesson. So I'll see you there.